Welcome to Woman2Woman Today, where we're having intimate conversations with inspiring women while doing projects that will teach us something new. I'm your host, Jen Maceda, and we want this show to be a bright spot in your lives. If you are now or have ever been in an experience where you felt betrayed, depressed, where that experience has taken a hold of your life and you want to reclaim it, then you have got to keep watching this show. With us today is Mal Duane. Mal is a certified spiritual professional and life coach. She's also a certified law of attraction practitioner. She has been recognized as a leading expert in self-worth. Mal has triumphed over devastating life challenges and uses the lessons she has learned to coach other women and help them reclaim their lives. Welcome, Mal. Thank you for being with us.
Jennifer, thank you. This is wonderful.
So you are very experienced in writing. You're very experienced in helping others to accomplish their goals and to find their own self-worth. How is it that you've come to be this practitioner of self-worth?
My own life has been my message. And because I experienced 25 years of feeling worthless, it became my mission to help other women and get them out of that pain and show them there is another way, and it's not that difficult. We get in our own way. It's our own judgment, our own self-critic. So it's just such an honor to be here to be able to share this.
I'm excited for everyone to hear your message because I feel like all of us at some point, women at some point, have felt that self-doubt. There are women that have experienced things similar to what you and I have experienced, and we've had, some great conversations about that. And I want people to know that you are an expert sharing through your books, but you're also an expert that can help people one-on-one. And sometimes you need that additional support, just that conversation that you can have with someone who you trust. So not a lot of people have had these same experiences in the way that we have, but essentially people have felt it. So what do you tell women, and what can you share of your experiences that would really give us the knowledge that you are someone to trust in helping us get through the barriers that we put up for ourselves?
Well, I suffered addiction, depression, failed relationships, failed marriages, self-condemnation, the worthlessness, and I didn't have to feel that way. I had given up my power. I had lost sight that I had a choice to do something different with my life. But I didn't have anybody to talk to. It wasn't common then. Now there are coaches that will create a sacred space for women to be able to talk, to reveal their pain, to face their stories and their monsters and their demons and realize that that's not who they are, and give them the ability to take back that power and to live their truth and be authentic.
Why do you think women don't talk about it? Because that's really such a key point that you're stressing in the work that you do. We need to talk about it, because the more we talk about it, the more we will find people that have similar experiences that we can learn from. And that doesn't happen enough, and that's one of the reasons why you're here, and I'm so excited that you are to share that.
I think it's shame, guilt, the way we're brought up. I was raised that you never talked about things outside the household, that everything was a secret. Oh, shh, you'll get over that. And so because we don't honor ourselves, we are afraid to talk about the things that are so painful for us. And we also think that those things that happened to us or that we did, where we maybe did not use good judgment, define who we are, and they do not.
That's a good point. Right. No, they don't. And so you didn't have people to talk to. You were feeling these things, and inside, did you feel as though this is not right? I've made some poor choices, but this is not right and I've got to do something about it. How do you hit that level? When did you hit that level where you knew you couldn't stay where you were?
It was I'll never forget the day. It was 1988, December 30th, and I had gotten to a point where I said, I do not have one more day in me to continue to drink and do what I'm doing. I want to die. And I was really planning my death and how I could leave this earth quietly. When I really had a spiritual awakening, something hit me like a lightning bolt. And then I heard these words that said, oh no, dear child, you are not leaving now. You have lessons to learn, and when you've mastered those lessons, you will need to go and teach others. I knew at that moment that my own thinking had created my pain and suffering. It became so clear that I was judging myself far worse than any human being out there was, and that where I had created this enormous pain, I could also take it away. And that was the awakening point for me. Now I had to deal with getting sober and I went into AA, and I haven't had a drink in 28 years. And I do a lot of work with women in that area as well. But it was such a distinct moment. It was a turning point, and there was never, this is the interesting thing, there was never a struggle from that day on. And that's very unusual.
Yeah. Unusual in other people's experience that you've spoken to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, anybody that's giving up, a dependency on alcohol or drugs or whatever,
yeah.
It's normally not a split decision and then you just move on peacefully. And that's really what happened. I never looked back. I never struggled with alcohol again. And people ask me that all the time. I say, don't even think about it. It's like it wasn't even part of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how far behind me it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And you talk about in your previous experiences having given up the power, giving it up to someone else because you didn't think that it was yours, or you didn't think that you were worth it. Tell me about that.
I gave up my power because I was living small. I was living behind a veil of guilt and shame, and I was afraid to peek my head out and be the real Mal. Now, I had been modeling in magazines and TV commercials, and people would say, oh, you've got it made. But they didn't understand that the young woman that was showing up with all that makeup and hair and fancy clothes felt worthless. There was nobody there. It was like an actress showed up playing a role, but the real Mal wasn't there.
And then you reached for help. Was it through AA? Was it through, you talk about a spiritual awakening. Who did you reach to first? I hit on this on almost every guest. I want to know that there is someone that someone can turn to, right? You have to. I mean, it's critical for whatever it is, whatever episode we do, there's always that turning point of asking for help, or even if you're not asking, you're receiving it, and then you acknowledge that help when you return at a later time.
And this is a wonderful question, because in 1988, there weren't a lot of resources for me. There was AA and getting a sponsor and going to meetings, and all of those things supported me on my path. But I didn't have anyone outside of AA to have an intimate dialogue with about things that maybe weren't related to alcohol per se. And so it took a long time to find that resource. And then in 2000, I started hearing about coaches. And the first woman I worked with, a wonderful woman named Siobhan Murphy, who she really helped me tap into my power so quickly and in such just an amazing way. And from that experience to today, I still have coaches in my life for specific areas. And that's what inspired me to end up getting certified in coaching, was so that I could help the women that hear this message and say, look, reach out to me. I communicate with women all over the world, either through social media, email, through my website, that are coming to me with the most painful, heartbreaking situations that could possibly happen to a woman that has taken their lives away. They have been living in the dark, and that is not the way for women to survive. And now they have a place to go, and they have people they can reach out to, and they are getting their voice back, and they're getting their power back. And some of them are writing stories about those awful situations. And how freeing is that?
Yeah.
To be able to say, wait a minute, this happened to me, but it doesn't own me.
It doesn't define me.
Right.
And I'm gonna keep the power that I was born to have, because I believe we're all born with that power over ourselves, and we slowly release that to others until we realize we need to make a change. Yes. We need to shift that.
You know what's interesting? When we get to this earth, we arrive as perfect, divine little beings. We are untouched. And then we meet our parents, and things start to change. Now, not that our parents aren't good. Now, I'm not saying that, because I loved my parents dearly.
All different experiences.
Right. But parents have their own opinions.
Yes.
And they had their own issues.
Right, so they're shaping the way that you begin to establish your own self. Absolutely.
Their opinions become our opinions.
Right.
And then you meet Johnny next door, and he has opinions, and his family does. And we take on all these stories and all these opinions.
Nobody's teaching you the skill of thinking
filtering all of this.
and filtering and deciding for yourself. You don't get that until essentially you're in a business world, and people are throwing ideas at you, and you've got to filter through and decide, based on numbers or analysis, what works. But in a relationship and in a personal social setting, you never get that skill or that training unless you reach out for help, because it's critical.
Absolutely. And it's taking those lenses off that have been just covered with the muck of life. Look, this is a classroom. Life is a classroom. And we're here to learn lessons. And this has been another big turning point for me. I realized that every challenge in my life, and many of them very painful, have had a purpose. They were to teach me something. They were to teach me a lesson so that my soul would evolve, and that I would become bigger and better and stronger and more resilient as a woman. And as I do that, my responsibility is to give that gift away to other women. And that's why we're here doing what we're doing.
Yeah. No, thank goodness for that. That's, as I've mentioned to you, that's really the genesis of this program, because as I've also said, we don't do enough of that together, woman to woman, to create the strength that will support each other in each other's success, because as one is successful, so can another pull someone up and assist them. So, I am really grateful that you're here for a lot of different reasons. But we're going to take a break. Short break, and when we come back, Mal will share with us some strategies from her award-winning book, Alpha Chick, 5 Steps for Moving from Pain to Power. So keep watching, everybody.
I've always wanted to go to college. That helps you evolve as a person. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
Welcome back to Woman2Woman Today, where we inspire women to reach their goals and learn something new each show. I'm your host, Jen Maseda, and we are back with Mal Duane, a leading expert on self-worth, certified law of attraction practitioner, and author of the #1 best-selling book, Alpha Chick. And I just want to show you what this looks like. We've got 2 books that we're going to be talking about. So Alpha Chick is about 5 steps for moving from pain to power and choosing happiness. So we just had a little session right at the break. But let's continue this, because essentially these 5 steps is what you communicate to women either through books or online resources or one-on-one conversations and coaching, life coaching. So tell me a little bit about the business first, because I want people to know that this is a resource that they need to get involved with. So how did you start the business, and how do people find you? And
Okay. Well, again, as I mentioned, my own pain inspired me to, after writing the book, to really step up and understand how to work one-on-one. It's one thing to write a book and have these wonderful tools and share them with the universe, but when somebody calls you and says, I'm in terrible pain and I need your help, I need to be qualified to be able to step up and do that work. So that inspired my coaching business and my inspirational speaking, etc. The 5 steps in the book came to me in what I call kind of divine downloads. I have made it my mission since 1988. I've read thousands of books, taken hundreds of courses to really understand the power that we have as women, because it's there and it just gets buried, and nobody teaches us how to go in and get that and bring it to the surface and live the way we're meant to live. So through that extensive study and just sitting with this, all that I've learned, these lessons came through. And when they first came through, I thought there were 7, and then I was corrected and told, no, there are only 5, and they spell faith. And I was like, why faith? And it's nothing to do with religion or anything like that. It's about belief in oneself. And women must believe in themselves. That is the foundation of their lives, of their success, and of their ability to create anything that they want to do, is that belief. And once I learned that belief in myself, I became unstoppable. I built a real estate company. I wrote a book. I had a horse. I didn't even know what end to feed, and he became world champion. I mean, I've done crazy things because I believed in myself. Right. Yeah.
That's incredible.
So these lessons are, and they're so simple. The first one is focus. And what we need to do is take our attention off of outside. We're always chasing the right man, the right dress, the right house, the right job. But that's not where our true sense of completion comes from. That's not where the peace, the self-love, the belief, the faith is going to come from. You need to go within. And I can honestly sit here and say that everything you need, you already have. It's in here. And if you can just go within and get quiet and settle and allow that divine voice, that intuition within you to come up and start to guide you, the path changes.
Yeah. I feel a lot of my friends and I have little people in our lives that pull that focus away, and also it's not really a sense of guilt in focusing on ourselves as much as it is I just don't have the time. You know, I'm taking them to gymnastics and ballet, and you know, and then I've got my own work that I want to accomplish. And so when you say focus, how do you give yourself the gift of that focus?
Early morning. It's really a practice. And it's a practice of meditation, of just being still. And maybe it's journaling, maybe it's prayer, but it's pulling in your energy. You know, if you don't take care of yourself first, you cannot give the energy, the love that children need, the energy and love that a partner needs. If you're so depleted, you have nothing to give. So this is really about keeping your own energy, your own vibration up at such a level that you're able to cast that light and share it with others.
That makes sense.
And it's a little bit of discipline. Get up a half hour earlier every day.
You're right.
And take 15, 20 minutes and just be quiet and start your day from a place of peace.
Yeah. You know what? For me, I think it scares me to have that sense of peace. Because I like to move quickly, but I think I like to move quickly because it's an excuse that I don't have to think about recharging myself, and I don't have to think about just things that have happened in my life, and I don't have to do that self-analysis, and that's a mistake, because if you don't have that strong strength of foundation, how are you supporting the rest of the people in your lives and helping the rest of the people in your lives? So.
Well, you can't do it as well as you you could.
Right.
And facing ourselves can be scary, but you're a strong woman, and you're on a mission, woman to woman.
Yeah.
That says a lot about who you are. So you want to get into that place and feel what needs to be felt and release it, let it go.
Yeah.
And that's where you find that really strong voice. And it's amazing how quickly all of that awareness can start to emerge, which is the second step of this process. I used to think it was acceptance, but no, I've been corrected on that now. It's really awareness.
Okay.
I have taught for so long that we have to accept ourselves just the way we are. Let go of the baggage. We drag around stuff like an old suitcase for 30 years. Let it go. It's meaningless.
Right.
It has no bearing on who you are today
Right.
as a woman. My past has no bearing on who I am today. And so I've learned to accept everything I've done and understand it and learn the lessons from it. But I realize it's even more than that. It's an awareness of who we are as this divine female energy that we bring to this planet, and how we can step up and be the best version of that. And it's different for each woman, but inside of each one of us is a divine purpose. And when we become aware that purpose starts to come up, and you go, whoa, wait a minute, this is what I really want to do with my life.
Yeah.
And you can start to take the steps.
Yeah. So focus,
acceptance and
or
awareness.
Yeah.
And the third step is intention.
Intention.
We live our lives reacting to things that happen instead of responding. We live without a plan. When we get up and set our day with intention, that's like having the soul of the universe behind what you want to do. It holds your feet to the fire.
Yeah.
It makes you accountable. Intention is the manifestation. It's coming from your soul, and if you really want to create something, you set an intention, and 99.9% of the time, you are going to create exactly what you want to create. Now, it may look slightly different than the original picture, but that's when, law of attraction comes in, and sometimes they deliver higher and better than what your first thought was. So, but the intention is that energy that makes it all happen.
Yeah.
It takes a wish and it makes it a reality.
Right. And I've heard a lot, share what those intentions are, and you talk about it, and push it out into the universe, because that's sort of how. Tell me about the law of attraction. Is that part of it?
It is, but I think for women, the biggest problem that they have with the law of attraction, why it doesn't work for them, is they say, "Oh, well, I want the perfect man," or I want a relationship with this man or that man. One is they don't think they're worthy deep down inside. So that self-worth has got to be there if you want to manifest. And the second thing is you have got to be crystal clear. Women spend more time picking out shoes than they do partners. And you've got to be very clear. You've got to have a clear picture of who you want to attract into your life. You have to have a clear picture of how you want to show up and bring your gifts and skills to your career. What's going to energize you, light you up, turn your light on so that you can inspire others in the professional arena.
Right. And as we talked about in the first segment, you're not really taught those skills at an early age of what kind of characteristics within a partner, what kind of goals within a business. What, you know, you're not taught to do that at a young age. And if you've read Malcolm Gladwell,
right.
You know, with those 10,000 hours, you really don't have that many hours as you're getting to your 20s, your late 20s into your 30s of practicing that skill of you know, basing your attraction or basing this goal on some form of character that you think is important and that is going to light your bulb, light a lot of things maybe.
But you know what's wonderful? There's a shift. Women are realizing that there is something more available to them than what they have, that there's something better out there. They're getting glimpses of it, and they're getting a little taste of it, and they want more, and they're saying, how do I get that?
Yeah.
How do I get there? How do I do this? And there is a movement, and it's women like you and me supporting these women to find that,
right.
to bring the resources to show them, oh yeah, baby, you can do this.
Right, and you're worth it.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. And the fourth step is thoughts.
Okay.
And that was one of my biggest challenges, was because I was just so rooted in negative thinking about myself. And it is a proven fact that what we think about shows up in our reality.
Right.
Thoughts are energy. That's all they really are. And so if we keep thinking about the same thing and thinking about the same thing, that's what we're going to attract into our lives. That's what's going to show up in our physical reality. When I first started this journey, I used to wear a very thick rubber band on my wrist, and every time I caught myself going down that path of negative thoughts, I would go and let it go, and the sting, the burn would be so awful, and people would say, what are you doing?
And
I'd
but
say,
it kind of snaps you out of that.
It snaps me out of it.
Right.
Now I just tap on my temple. You know, tapping has become a very therapeutic, emotional technique. And so now I just have to do this. I just catch myself and I go, wait a minute, what are you doing? That's not your truth.
Right.
That's judgment, it's opinion, it's assuming. And when we are assuming like that, we actually know nothing. It's not the truth. It's better to have thought without judgment.
Yeah.
That's
on
how
self and others.
Yes, and that's how you get to the truth.
Yes.
And the fifth step is H, for once you are feeling really healed, really strong, and women know, you know when you're in your zen, you just vibrate, you know, like in those shoes, girls. I'm not going to give myself a pair of those.
It's only when I'm sitting down that I can wear these.
But when when you're in your power, you know it. And that's when you have to start giving it away. You have to go and help others and teach them how to do it. It's casting that pebble into the pond. And as women, we can change the world by helping each other. One woman, woman to woman, at a time.
Exactly.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. But don't hoard the goodies.
Yeah.
Give it away.
Give it away.
And that's what my teaching is about now. Anything I know, I will share and give away to others.
It's an amazing feeling to do that, and to be able to sit here and experience your giving away, because you've given so much to me already. It's really a gift to have you on the show, and I just want to show people one more time. Alpha Chick, pick this up, but then your new book is coming out on Tuesday, so we're going to put these up on the page so people can make sure that they'll get that on our Facebook site and Instagram, and where you're going to be everywhere, because you are amazing, and that's a gift to be able to give something away because of the experiences that you have, and feel comfortable that you're not in competition, you're not taking anything away from anyone else. There is plenty of space for all of us. There is plenty of experiences for all of us. Let's get each other to come forward and make a movement together. And you are an inspiration to me. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Big thanks to Mal Duane for being with us. Please remember to follow, like, and subscribe to Woman2Woman Today on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube so you don't miss a show. Thanks to the entire team at Access Framingham, especially Shavarish Morrissey and Francesca Cerruti Harris. Thanks also to Jess Briswell, our assistant producer. I'm Jen Maceda, your host of Woman2Woman Today. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time, where we hope to inspire you.